the Jaden Doss thing is really interesting on two fronts.
Okay.
Because, number one, the fact that he was working in with the secondary tells us a little something about what we said on Friday. Doesn't it? That maybe the secondary's not as deep or has as many answers.
Well, I feel like we've been kind of broaching the secondary topic for
A little
a
while now.
couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
Right. Because, and I would kind of be joking and I'd say, well, gosh, if they're getting vertical with all these pass catches, like who's defending these guys?
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's another side of that coin.
So, go ahead. The defensive, because you do see him in blue jerseys in practice, which means he's flip flopping.
So there's two things that I think are at play here. Number one, if they didn't need him and the secondary, he probably wouldn't be flip flopping. I would guess that seems like a reasonable conclusion to make there. And secondly, if he was in the position he was last year in the wide receivers group, he probably wouldn't be flipping. At this time, or I guess preseason last year, because I don't remember if he was in spring last year or not, but this time last year in the fall camp, he was the one freshman receiver that they were talking about playing, right? And that kind of
Ahead of
Lloyd
Malachi and Malachi.
Lloyd, ahead of obviously Demetrius Bell, who ended up redshirting last year. Hopefully, he gets healthy back quick here. But so this guy who was ahead of everybody else, now I'm not saying he's behind now, but he's at the point where it's like, maybe he's a guy who we can use on the other side of the ball to maximize his ability. I'm guessing if he was in that top 3 or 4 group in the wide receivers, that wouldn't be something they're doing.
Hey, what's the number you need, do you think, at wideout? Because we always say top 3 or 4, but it's so much more than that. It's really like a top
8 to
6
10
or 7.
Is 8 to 10 too many? Or I mean, because you're going to play 6 to 7 regularly, right?
10 would be fantastic.
Right. But you're going to play 6 to 7 regularly.
Okay.
Right?
So
I would like to have another 2 to 3 past that.
Okay, 6 to 7 regularly.
So you've got Banks.
You got Bullock, Banks,
Nayor, Lloyd. That's 4. Coleman, who we didn't see but feel good about.
Bonner,
who we love again. That's 6.
4, 6, 8, 12.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's kind of your bare minimum number, right?
I got to be missing one.
I'm going to look at the roster here real quick. What do we got?
No, so you got, I mean, I could tell it to you. So you got Banks, Nayor.
Oh, Barney. Forgot about Barney.
There he is. That's it.
Barney's definitely the playing.
One. So that's 7.
That's 7. So you feel okay there. You would like, depending on the 1 or 2 more, depending on the extent of the injury of.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in 10 personnel, 4 of those guys are out there at once.
Yeah. If you're, depending on the extent of the injury,
they want to sneak and get to 12, then you use Bonner as a tight end.
Yeah, which they get that. I do think they like Bonner because of that, because he does offer some positional flexibility there, even though he's officially a wide receiver again.
And I get it. He may not have the long speed, but did you see him a little bit with the run after the catch?
Yeah.
He's got a little burst to him initially.
I'm telling you, I said this last year, and it didn't really play out because for whatever reason, but I think partially because we didn't have the quarterback play to get it done. I like him as a Jaheim Bell type that was used at South Carolina with Coach Satterfield.
I remember you told me that, and I was like, this is in the off. This is in the summer. You're like, oh, yeah, I just got done watching some South Carolina offense. I'm like, for what? Do you remember that?
Yeah. You're like, why? I was like, I want to see what Satterfield's going to do.
Yeah, I remember that conversation.
And I think there's obviously Bell went on to play for Florida State last year and had a good year. I think got drafted like in the 7th round. But, that's a guy who's, I think there's a skill set overlap with him and Bonner where it's a lot of receiving, kind of a tweener between a tight end and a wide receiver, but also can line up in the backfield and do some things for you. Like, I think Bonner could be a really interesting part of the offense.
It's interesting how 16, 18, and 19
kind of a lot of run.
They look a lot alike
physically,
even though they look a lot alike catching and stuff. Even though their body types, are all different.
And people were getting real confused in the press box.
No, I'm just you. It was even like it's now Lloyd is easy.
Yes,
like I know his gait.
Yep.
I know whatever, but I could see Bonner and Nair being
Yes.
confused until you see
Nair get out and run.
Nair run.
Yeah.
Like, because he's such a glider.
Mhm.
But the type, right, just to the naked eye, yeah, I could see it. And I know, like, Sam said he was a little worried about the tight end room, but you saw, they use Echternach in line.
Yep.
We saw Smith Flores.
Make an incredible catch.
The little one-hander on the rub route.
Yeah, maybe the
little
best
arbit-
catch of the day.
We saw Keelan Smith, who has some versatility.
Mhm.
I like him.
Yeah.
You saw Bork. You obviously saw Fedoni. You saw Flint. I mean,
You've only got a couple
you're
guys.
gonna use Lindemeyer.
Yep.
I kind of like that room.
You've only got a couple guys in there that you look at and say, okay, I've got proven production there.
Yeah, and I'm of course biased when it comes to Borkature, but
Well, and we're not even talking about. There's a couple guys from this class that I don't know that
Yeah.
they might play into this room. Whether it's obviously the highlight for a lot of people is Carter Nelson, but Eric Ingerson is a really nice player as well out of Papio. You've got some options there that, again, you've got a couple answers and then you've got a bunch of options, right? Fedoni and Borkature, you look at and you go, hey, those are answers.
Lindemeyer.
And Lindemeyer, different skill set, but
yeah,
still an answer. You got three guys. You look at, okay, I know what these guys are. These are answers at that position. And then you've got probably, you mentioned like 3 or 4. I mentioned 2 more. You got a bunch of options there too.
And your OC's coaching that room now, so you're going to get the intricacies.
100%. Yeah,
that's the advantage of. And I remember when Coach Solich was assistant head coach, and I think they called him an offensive coordinator, but he's played an integral role, right?
Yeah.
So the advantage to that was, we used to have these formations 91, 93, 94, 90, or 95, 97, where is pass protections and we'd get out into routes.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'd motion out of the backfield and we'd play in the slot, or, blitz protect. Like when your coach does that and understands the offense and its totality, you get all the nuances.
Yeah.
That I think that's going to benefit this tight end room immensely. And listen, I love Sat. He doesn't give me much because I think it's just his personality.
Yeah.
I try to mess with him and stuff. And he looks at me like, I don't really like you. I'm glad you are nice to me. But I said this last year, even everybody was hating and he was struggling on offense. And I'm like, you need his personality. You need his personality to get through this season because he's so tough-minded.
Yeah.
And he's loyal.
Yeah.
Right. Those are things you can't see. They don't manifest themselves like, statistically or what. But you need a glue guy's temperament on your staff, like a guy that's just not. The wind picks up, or he hears a few things, or the temp changes, and all of a sudden they're a different person. Like that's not always good for you.
Is he the coaching version of Heinrich Harburg's mindset?
Maybe. I love H2O.
Because because you heard Rule talk about this in the presser where he's talking about people coming to him with offers and like, hey, these guys are offering all this money.
Hey,
whatever.
that's real, by the way.
But then he goes, and it's not like it doesn't happen with my assistant coaches too, right? And like, is Satterfield that guy that he just knows?
You heard Saban just dime himself out over Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah. Like,
you're like, wait, what did he just say?
Is Satterfield just that guy that he doesn't have to worry about, where he's just like, hey, we'll take care of him?
Yeah.
Like Harper.
I could see that. He's just a loyal. I don't know. I like him.
Just tough-minded, and it's like, hey, we're gonna get it done.
Yeah,
loyal guy.
We go have a ginger ale.